The shuttle broke through the clouds of the alien world, and Ho pressed his face against the window. Below them, a massive city stretched across the horizon. Buildings made of crystal and metal reached toward the sky. Flying vehicles moved between them like schools of fish. He had seen pictures, but nothing prepared him for this moment. First time seeing a real alien city, Haewon asked from the seat beside him. She smiled, but her hands gripped the armrest tight. She was nervous, too. First time for all of us, Ho replied. He was Earth's ambassador now. The thought still felt strange. 6 months ago, he was teaching history at a university. Then the aliens came and everything changed. The Galactic Council had sent representatives to Earth. They were peaceful, they said. They wanted to welcome humanity into the greater community of intelligent species. Earth would get new technology, knowledge, protection. All they had to do was follow the Council's rules. Min sat across from them, his military uniform crisp and perfect. He did not look nervous, he looked alert. Something feels wrong about this, he muttered. What do you mean? Ho asked. Too easy, too friendly, nothing in life is free. The shuttle landed on a platform near the top of the tallest building. The doors opened and Ho stepped out onto alien soil for the first time. The air smelled different, clean, almost too clean, like a hospital. A group of aliens waited for them. They came in all shapes and sizes. Some walked on two legs like humans. Others floated. One looked like a collection of crystals held together by light. Their leader stepped forward. It was tall and thin, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Welcome, humans of Earth, it said. The words came through a small device that translated. I am Council Speaker. We are pleased to receive you. Ho bowed slightly the way his grandmother taught him. Thank you for having us. We are honored to be here. The welcome ceremony was long and formal. The council members spoke about peace and cooperation. They talked about the thousands of years of harmony in the galaxy. They showed holographic displays of beautiful worlds and advanced cities. Everything looked perfect. But Ho kept noticing something odd. Behind the speakers on the wall hung a massive star map. Most of it glowed with different colors, showing the territories of different alien species. But large sections of the map were dark, empty, unmarked. After the ceremony, the council gave them a tour. They saw gardens that grew food in minutes, medical facilities that could heal almost any injury, ships that could cross the galaxy in days. It was amazing, overwhelming. During a break, Haewon pulled Ho aside. Did you see the map? She whispered. The dark areas, yes. I counted them. There are 12 major dark zones, all roughly the same size, all at the edges of council space. Maybe they are just unexplored regions, Ho suggested. Haewon shook her head. The council has had faster-than-light travel for 40,000 years. They explored everything a long time ago. That evening they attended a formal dinner. The council members were polite and friendly. They asked questions about Earth, about human culture, about their wars. When Ho mentioned the world wars, the aliens looked at each other with something like pity. Violence is a phase, Speaker said. All young species go through it. You will grow past it as we all did. May I ask a question? Haewon said suddenly. Of course. The star map in the council chamber. What are the dark regions? The room went quiet. The aliens stopped eating. Speaker's skin shifted to a darker color. Those regions are uncharted, said slowly. Uncharted, after 40,000 years of space travel. Some areas of space are not suitable for colonization. We mark them as exclusion zones and avoid them. Why? Min asked. There is nothing there worth the effort, another council member said quickly. Just empty space, dead worlds. We focus our resources on areas that support life. Ho noticed how they all avoided eye contact. He had been a teacher for 20 years. He knew when students were lying. These aliens were hiding something. I understand, Ho said politely. Thank you for explaining. The dinner continued, but the mood had changed. The aliens were still friendly, but more careful now. They steered conversations away from anything serious. Later in their assigned quarters, the three humans gathered. They are lying, Min said flatly. Those zones are not empty. But why lie about it? Hey-One wondered. What could be there? Ho walked to the window and looked out at the alien city. Millions of beings lived here in peace and comfort. The council had maintained this peace for thousands of years, but his grandmother's words echoed in his mind. She had lived through war. She had seen governments lie to their people to keep them calm. My grandmother used to tell me stories, Ho said. During the war, the government would hide bad news. They would leave blank spaces on maps. They would tell people not to worry about certain areas. It was always to prevent panic. You think the council is hiding something to prevent panic? Hey-One asked. I think they are hiding something they don't know how to handle, Ho replied. And that scares me more than any enemy would. The next morning, the council presented Earth with the integration documents. Pages and pages of rules and regulations. Humanity would need to demilitarize their deep space assets, share all technology with the Council, accept Council law as supreme. Ho read through them carefully. Hidden in the middle was a clause that made his blood run cold. Earth would be forbidden from entering the exclusion zones. No explanation, just a simple prohibition. We need time to review these documents, Ho said. Of course, Speaker agreed. But we hope you understand that these terms are non-negotiable. Every species in the Council has agreed to them. Every species that survived, Min muttered, too quiet for the translators to catch. Ho looked at the star map one more time. 12 dark zones. 12 empty spaces where something should be. His grandmother's voice whispered in his memory. When powerful people tell you not to look at something, that is exactly where you should look. He made his decision. Earth would sign the documents. They would join the council, but they would not stop asking questions. And they would definitely look at those dark zones. Because humanity had learned long ago that the most dangerous threats were the ones people refused to talk about. Rubbed his tired eyes and stared at the screen again. Numbers and dates filled the display, forming patterns that should not exist. He had been analyzing Galactic Council records for 3 weeks straight, and every day the mystery grew deeper. You should sleep, Wu said from across the lab. She was working on her own terminal, trying to intercept Council communications. You will miss something important if you are too tired. I already found something important, replied. That is the problem. He stood and stretched, then walked over to the main display wall. With a few gestures, he brought up a timeline. Look at this. Every 4,000 years, like clockwork, civilizations disappear from council records. Wu came over to look. Disappear how? Just gone. 1 year they are listed as active council members. The next year they are marked as voluntary isolation or natural decline. But it happens too regularly. Too precisely. How many civilizations? 12 that I can confirm. Probably more, but the oldest records are corrupted or missing. Wu frowned. 12, like the 12 exclusion zones. Exactly like the 12 exclusion zones. They both stared at the timeline in silence. Had spent his career as a data analyst, finding patterns in financial markets and population movements. He was good at seeing connections that others missed, but he had never seen a pattern as clear and disturbing as this one. We need to tell someone, Wu said. Who would believe us? We are civilians. The council barely acknowledges Earth exists. Ambassador Ho would listen. He asked questions about the exclusion zones too. Nodded slowly. Send him everything we have. Use the encrypted channel. While Wu prepared the transmission, dug deeper into the data, he pulled up records of council military activities, fleet movements, defense spending. Something strange appeared in the patterns. Every 4,000 years, right before a civilization disappeared, the Council would withdraw their fleets from certain sectors. They would pull back, leaving entire regions undefended. Then, after a civilization went silent, the fleets would return to normal positions. "They know," whispered. "They know it is going to happen and they let it happen." "What?" Wu turned from her terminal. "Look at the fleet movements. The Council pulls back before each disappearance. They are not trying to prevent it, they are avoiding it." Wu's face went pale. "That is impossible. No government would abandon their own people." "No human government would. Maybe alien thinking is different. Or maybe they have no choice." The words hung in the air like a weight. What kind of threat would make the Galactic Council, with all their technology and 40,000 years of experience, choose to run instead of fight? Wu's terminal beeped. "I have been monitoring Council communications like you asked. I just picked up something strange." She brought up the audio on the main speakers. The translator converted the alien speech into Korean. "Energy signatures detected in Sector 7749. Same as last time. Too early. The cycle should not begin for another 200 years. Suppress the data. We cannot cause panic." The transmission cut off. Wu tried to restore it, but the Council had encrypted the rest of the conversation. "Sector 7749, said, pulling up a star map. "That is right next to one of the exclusion zones." He zoomed in on the area. According to Council records, it was empty space. Nothing interesting. But Earth's deep space probes had passed through that sector last month. He pulled up their data. The probes had detected unusual energy readings, massive amounts of power like a sun but moving. The readings did not match anything in Council databases, had flagged it as strange but not urgent. Now he understood why. "They deleted it," he said. "This energy signature matches the gaps in their database. The Council has been deleting evidence for thousands of years." Wu leaned closer to the screen. "What is it?" "I do not know, but whatever it is, it appears every 4,000 years. It consumes entire civilizations, and the Council's strategy is to pretend it does not exist." They worked through the night, compiling evidence. Cross-referenced Council records with humanity's independent observations. Wu intercepted more communications, piecing together fragments of the truth. By morning they had a picture. An incomplete picture, but enough to understand the threat. Something lived in the dark spaces between stars. Something old. Something patient. It would appear, destroy a civilization, then disappear back into the void. The Council survived by sacrificing others, by feeding the beast. "We need to send this to Ho now," said. "Earth needs to know." "The Council monitors all our transmissions," Wu warned. "If we send this, they will know we are investigating." "Then they will know, but humans deserve the truth." Wu hesitated, then nodded. She encrypted the data package and sent it through the quantum communication link directly to the ambassador's ship. It would take 3 days to reach him. 3 days later, Ho's response came back. It was brief but clear. "Evidence received. Requesting emergency council session. Prepare detailed presentation." 2 weeks later, and Wu stood in a shuttle heading to the council station. They brought all their data, all their evidence, and all their questions. Ho had warned them that the council would not react well. "They will call you liars," he had said. "They will say you misunderstood the data. They will try to dismiss you." "What should we do?" had asked. "Tell the truth, show them the evidence, make them face what they have been hiding." Now, as the shuttle approached the massive council station, felt his heart pound. He was just a civilian analyst. Wu was a communications technician. They were about to accuse the most powerful government in the galaxy of lying for thousands of years. Haewon met them at the landing platform. They looked exhausted but determined. "Ho is preparing the council chamber. Min is reviewing your military analysis. We have one shot at this. Do you think they will listen? Wu asked. No, Hei-Wan said honestly. But we have to try, because if we are right, the next cycle is coming early, and this time it might not stop with just one civilization. They walked through the corridors of the council station. Aliens of every species stopped to stare at the humans. Word had spread that Earth was calling an emergency session. Nobody knew why. In the council chamber, Ho stood at the center podium. All 12 council species had sent representatives. They sat in their high seats, looking down at the humans with curiosity and annoyance. Speaker's skin shifted to an irritated red color. Ambassador Ho, you have requested this emergency session. We are very busy. What is so urgent? Ho looked back at his team. Wu, Hei-Wan, and Min, 4 humans against a galaxy of aliens, but they had the truth on their side. Honorable council members, Ho began, we have discovered something you need to hear, something you have been hiding for a very long time. The chamber went silent. We know about the cycle, we know about the disappearances, and we know that the next one is coming early. Ho nodded to who activated the main display. The timeline appeared, showing 40,000 years of data, 12 civilizations, 12 disappearances, 12 dark zones. We are here to issue a warning, Ho said, because humanity has learned that the most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Alien voices filled the air, some angry, some frightened. The translators struggled to keep up with the flood of different languages. Ho stood quietly at the podium, waiting for the noise to die down. Speaker raised a hand, and the chamber slowly quieted. The alien skin had turned a dark purple color that the humans had learned meant extreme displeasure. This is outrageous, said. You stand before this council and accuse us of what exactly? Lying, hiding information. We have maintained peace for 40,000 years while your species was still living in caves. Ho kept his voice calm. I accuse you of nothing. I simply present facts. Would you like to see the evidence? We have no interest in your conspiracy theories. Then why are you afraid to look? Min said from behind Ho. The military advisor stepped forward. If our data is wrong, prove it. Show us your records. Another council member, a floating crystalline being, spoke. We do not need to prove anything to you. You are new to this galaxy. You understand nothing. Hei-Wan moved to the display controls. Then help us understand. Explain these energy signatures we detected near Sector 7749. Explain why they match gaps in your historical databases. She brought up the probe data on the main screen. The energy readings were undeniable, massive, moving, deliberate. A third council member, who resembled a large insect, clicked its mandibles nervously. Where did you get that data? From our own deep space probes, Hei-Wan replied. We have been exploring independently, as is our right. These readings do not match anything in the databases you shared with us. Why? Because we removed them, a voice said from the back of the chamber. Everyone turned. An ancient alien slowly rose from its seat. It was the oldest council member, having served for over 8,000 years. Its body was frail, and mechanical parts had replaced much of its organic form. Elder Speaker said carefully, You should rest. This matter is not. This matter is exactly what these humans say it is, Elder interrupted. Its voice was weak but clear. I have served this council through 2 cycles. I have watched us sacrifice 2 civilizations to buy peace. I am tired of the lies. The chamber went completely silent. Elder moved slowly to the center, its mechanical legs clicking on the floor. The humans are correct. Every 4,000 years something comes from the dark spaces. We do not know what it is. We do not know where it comes from, but we know what it does. Elder, please, begged. We agreed never to speak of this. We agreed to be cowards, said, and now our cowardice is killing us. The elder alien turned to face Ho. 40,000 years ago, there were 25 species in this council. Now there are 12. The others did not leave voluntarily. They were consumed, destroyed. We watched it happen and did nothing. Why? Ho asked. Because fighting it was impossible. We tried in the beginning. We sent fleets, weapons, our best warriors. Nothing worked. The entity, whatever it is, exists partially outside normal space. Our weapons passed through it. Our ships were torn apart. Entire armadas vanished without leaving debris. So you chose to hide, Min said. We chose to survive, snapped. What would you have done? Thrown away billions of lives in a hopeless fight? We would have warned people, Ho said quietly. We would have given them a chance to prepare, to choose their own fate. Elder nodded slowly. That is why I am glad you are here. Your species still has fight in it. We lost ours long ago. Stepped forward with his timeline data. According to our calculations, the next cycle should not begin for another 200 years, but the energy signatures suggest it is starting now, ahead of schedule. Why? We do not know, Elder admitted. This has never happened before. The cycle has always been precise, 4,000 years like clockwork. Maybe it is getting stronger, Wu suggested, or hungrier, or maybe it has run out of patience with your games. Bora, the cultural liaison who had been watching the council members carefully, spoke up. I have been studying your body language during this session. You are not just afraid of the entity. You are afraid of each other, afraid of panic, afraid of what your people will do when they learn the truth. Several council members looked away. Bora had hit the mark. You built this entire civilization on a lie, Bora continued. 40,000 years of peace, you said, but it was not peace. It was just the time between feedings. Speaker's skin shifted through several colors rapidly. What do you want from us? You have exposed our shame. You have judged us. What now? Ho took a deep breath. We want you to fight. We want you to stop running and face this threat together. It is impossible, said. You do not understand what you are asking. Then we will fight alone, Min said. Earth will prepare. We will build defenses. We will study this entity. And when it comes, we will be ready. You will die, another council member said, just like the others. Maybe, Ho agreed, but we will die standing up, not on our knees waiting to be slaughtered. Elder made a sound that the translator interpreted as a sad laugh. I remember when we used to talk like that, before fear made us small. It is not too late, Hayone said. Help us. Share everything you know about the entity. Let us work together to find a weakness. The council members looked at each other uncertainly. For thousands of years, they had hidden from the truth. Now, these young humans were asking them to face it. Finally, Speaker spoke. The council must vote. Earth has presented evidence of an approaching threat. They have requested our assistance in preparing defenses. All in favor. Only Elder raised a hand. All opposed. 11 hands rose. The motion fails, said. Earth, you are hereby censured for spreading fear and panic. You have disrupted the peace of this council. We offer you a final choice. Accept council authority completely. Give up your independence. Let us guide you to safety, or face isolation. No trade, no technology sharing, no protection. Ho looked at his team. Hayone nodded. Min smiled grimly, and Wu stood tall. Bora gave him a thumbs up, a human gesture she had learned. We gave you a warning, Ho said. We showed you the truth. We offered to fight together. You chose fear over courage. You chose comfort over survival. He turned to leave, then looked back one more time. When the entity comes, when your worlds go dark and your people cry out for help, remember this moment. Remember that humans tried to warn you. Remember that you had a choice. The human delegation walked out of the council chamber. Behind them, the aliens sat in silence, facing the truth they had spent 40,000 years trying to avoid. In his seat, Elder watched them go. For the first time in thousands of years, he felt something he had forgotten. Hope. The humans were different. They were young, reckless, stubborn, but they had something the Council had lost. They still believed they could win. As the chamber doors closed behind the humans, Elder made a decision. He would not help them officially. The Council had voted, but he had access to ancient records, forbidden archives, knowledge that had been locked away because it was too dangerous. If humanity wanted to fight, they would need weapons, real weapons, the kind the galaxy had abandoned when they chose to run. He began making preparations. The cycle was coming early. The entity was already moving. Time was running out. But maybe, just maybe, these strange humans from Earth had a chance. Or maybe they would just die bravely, like so many before them. Either way, Elder would make sure they had every advantage he could give them. Earth's sky was filled with construction. Orbital stations, defense platforms, and weapon satellites formed a growing web around the planet. Every nation had set aside their differences when Ambassador Ho returned with his report. The threat was real. The Council had abandoned them. Humanity would stand alone. Wu floated in zero gravity outside the largest construction project, checking the structural integrity of what would become Fortress Luna. The moon itself was being converted into a weapon. Deep inside, massive systems were being installed. The surface bristled with missile platforms and energy shields. "How long until we are operational?" came the voice of Director Park through his helmet radio. 2 months if we push hard," Wu replied. 3 months to be safe." "We do not have 3 months. Intel suggests the entity will reach Council space within 6 weeks. After that, it is only a matter of time before it reaches us." Wu looked at Earth below, beautiful and blue. "Then we push hard." Down on the surface, Na stood in the Global Defense Command Center. Holographic displays showed Earth's military assets spread across the solar system. It was not enough, not even close. "We cannot win a straight fight," she said to the assembled military leaders. "The Council fought this thing with technology thousands of years ahead of ours. They lost. We need to think differently." "How do you fight something that exists outside normal space?" General asked. "We do not fight it where it is strong," Na replied. "We fight it where it is weak. The entity consumes civilizations. That means it has to interact with normal space at some point. That is when we hit it." She pulled up tactical simulations. "We create kill zones, areas where we can force the entity to manifest fully. Then we hit it with everything we have. Nuclear weapons, antimatter, kinetic strikes. We hurt it enough to make it think twice about coming here." "You are talking about guerrilla warfare against a cosmic predator," someone said. "Exactly. We cannot out-technology it, but we can out-stubborn it." While the military prepared, Bai was making a discovery on Mars. The ancient ruins had been known for years, but nobody had fully explored them. Now, with the threat looming, she had been given unlimited resources to investigate. "I found something," she called to her team. They were deep underground in a chamber that had been sealed for millions of years. The walls were covered in symbols, a language nobody could read. But Bai had been working with linguists and AI translation programs for weeks. Slowly, the meaning was becoming clear. "It is a warning," she said, running her hand over the carved stone. "The civilization that built this tried to warn the galaxy, just like we did." "What happened to them?" her assistant asked. "They were silenced, but before they died they left us something." She activated a hidden mechanism. Part of the wall slid away, revealing a chamber beyond. Inside were devices, weapons, technology that made no sense but somehow felt right. "They knew we would come," Bai whispered. "They knew someone would eventually need these." She carefully documented everything, then sent images back to Earth. Within hours, engineering teams were analyzing the designs. The weapons were elegant and deadly. They operated on principles human science was only beginning to understand. "These are not just weapons," Wu said when he saw the data. They are designed specifically to fight the entity. Whoever built these understood how it works. Can we build them? Director Park asked. We can try, but we are working from ancient blueprints with technology we barely understand. Then understand faster, Park said, because this might be the only advantage we get. As the weeks passed, humanity worked with desperate efficiency. Every factory on Earth was converted to defense production. Colony ships became troop carriers. Mining stations became forward bases. The asteroid belt was seeded with nuclear mines. Wu coordinated the communication network that tied it all together. She had improved her quantum systems, allowing instant communication across the solar system. If the entity attacked, everyone would know immediately. We are getting reports from Council Space, she told Ho one day. It has started. 3 Council worlds have gone dark in the past week. Ho studied the star charts. The entity was moving fast, faster than predicted. How long until it reaches us? 2 weeks, maybe less. Are we ready? No, but we are as ready as we will ever be. Min had taken command of the First Fleet, a collection of warships that had been built in record time. They were not elegant. They were not sophisticated, but they carried enough firepower to crack a planet. Remember, he told his captains during the final briefing, we are not trying to destroy this thing. We are trying to hurt it, make it bleed, make it afraid, show it that humans are too much trouble to consume. And if that does not work, someone asked, then we die fighting, which is better than dying on our knees. On Earth's moon, Wu watched the final preparations. Fortress Luna was complete. The massive were charged. The missile bays were full. Energy shields hummed with power. It is beautiful, Na said, standing beside him, in a terrifying way. Do you think it will be enough? I think we are about to find out. The first warning came from the outer solar system. A deep space probe detected energy readings near Neptune. Massive, growing, moving inward. It is here, Wu announced across all channels. The entity has entered the solar system. Across Earth and its colonies, alarms sounded. Military forces went a full alert. Civilians moved to shelters. Everyone knew what was coming. Ho stood in the command center, watching the displays. The entity appeared as a dark mass on the sensors, larger than Jupiter, moving through space like oil through water. Physics. It should not exist. But it did. All forces, this is Ambassador Ho, he broadcast on all frequencies. The entity has arrived. This is what we prepared for. This is what we trained for. We did not ask for this fight, but we will not run from it. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. The Council abandoned us. They said we would fail. They said we should submit, but we are humans. We do not submit to monsters. We do not surrender to fear. We stand. We fight. And we make them remember why they should have helped us. First Fleet, you are authorized to engage, Min ordered. All ships, weapons free. Let us show this thing what humans can do. The fleet accelerated toward the entity, weapons armed, shields at maximum. Behind them, Earth waited. Hope and fear mixed together in the hearts of billions. Bai worked frantically in her lab, making final adjustments to the ancient weapons they had reconstructed. They were not perfect. They were barely functional, but they were all humanity had. Please work, she whispered. Please, please work. The entity moved past Neptune, consuming one of the mining stations there. It happened in seconds. The station was there, then it was not. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Confirmed, Na said, her voice tight. The entity can consume matter directly. It does not need to destroy, it just absorbs. Then we do not give it a chance to absorb, Min said. First Fleet, maximum burn. We engage before it reaches the inner system. The ships rushed forward into the dark. Thousands of humans flying toward an enemy that had destroyed civilizations. They were afraid, but fear did not stop them. Because they were human. and humans had learned long ago that the bravest thing you could do was fight even when victory seemed impossible. The battle was about to begin. And whatever the outcome, the galaxy would remember that when Earth was warned of an unstoppable threat, when they were told to surrender or hide, they chose a third option. They chose to fight back. The entity filled the of every ship in First Fleet. It was massive beyond comprehension, a darkness that seemed to swallow light itself. Tendrils of energy reached out from its core, tasting the space around it, searching for prey. Dong stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, watching the thing that had destroyed countless civilizations. His hands were steady on the command console. His heart pounded, but his mind was clear. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer said. "Distance to target, 50,000 kilometers and closing." Dong opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is it, the moment we trained for. In a few minutes, we will engage an enemy that has never been defeated, an enemy that the entire Galactic Council runs from, but we are not the Council." He paused, looking at the faces of his bridge crew, young, determined, afraid but ready. "We are human, and humans do not run. Launch all weapons." The fleet opened fire. Thousands of missiles streaked through space. Nuclear warheads, antimatter torpedoes, kinetic kill vehicles traveling at significant fractions of light speed. It was the largest barrage humanity had ever unleashed. The entity did not dodge, did not defend. The weapons hit, and for a brief moment the darkness lit up with explosions that could be seen from Earth. "Did we get it?" someone asked. The light faded. The entity remained unchanged. "Negative damage," the tactical officer reported. "All weapons passed through the target without effect." "Just like the Council said," someone muttered. "No," Dong said firmly. "Not just like the Council said. They gave up after the first failure. We have not even started yet." He opened a new channel. "Bai, are the special weapons ready?" Down in the cargo bay, Bai checked the status of the reconstructed ancient weapons. They looked strange, like organic technology grown rather than built. The power readings were unstable but building. "As ready as they will ever be," she replied. "But I have no idea if they will work." "Then we find out. Fire when in range." The Indomitable moved closer to the entity, close enough to feel the pull of its strange gravity. The ancient weapons hummed with power, building to a crescendo that made the hull vibrate. "Firing now," Bai said. The weapons released, but they did not fire energy or projectiles. Instead, they created ripples in space itself, waves that traveled toward the entity like stones thrown into a pond. The effect was immediate. The entity recoiled. Its tendrils pulled back, and for the first time it seemed to hesitate. "We heard it," Bai shouted. "The weapons work." But the entity adapted. Its form shifted, becoming less solid, more dispersed. The next wave of ancient weapons passed through without effect. "It is learning," Dong realized. "It figures out our attacks and adjusts." "Then we keep changing our attacks," Min said over the command channel. He was on another ship coordinating the fleet's movements. "All ships, random attack pattern. Nuclear, kinetic, ancient weapons, mix it up. Do not give it time to adapt." The fleet split into 3 groups, attacking from different angles. The entity was forced to divide its attention. Some attacks it absorbed, others it dodged. But a few got through, and each time they did, the darkness flickered. On Earth, Ho watched the battle through the live feeds. Humanity was landing hits. They were causing damage. But the entity was so large, so vast, that even their best attacks were like mosquito bites to an elephant. "We need more time," he said to Na. "Can we slow it down?" Na studied the tactical displays. "The asteroid belt. If we detonate all the nuclear mines at once, we might be able to create a debris field that will slow its approach." "Do it." Thousands of nuclear weapons hidden among the asteroids detonated simultaneously. The explosion was visible from Earth, a brief new sun born between Mars and Jupiter. The blast wave sent billions of tons of rock flying toward the entity. The darkness consumed most of it easily, but the sheer mass forced it to slow down, to expend energy. "It is working," Wu reported. "The entity's approach speed has decreased by 40%. Good, that gives the fleet more time to attack." But the entity was learning faster now. It began to anticipate their moves. When ships fired missiles, it dodged before they launched. When they used the ancient weapons, it dispersed before impact. "It is getting smarter," Hay-One observed. She was analyzing the entity's behavior patterns. "It is not just a predator, it is intelligent, strategic." "Then we need to be more unpredictable," Ho said. He opened a channel to all defense forces. "All units abandon standard tactics. Captains have full autonomy. Fight dirty, fight chaotic, make it impossible to predict." And humanity did what it had always done best. It improvised. Ships rammed the entity at full speed, their reactors set to overload on impact. Mining lasers designed to cut asteroids were turned into weapons. Colony ships dumped tons of frozen water into the entity's path, creating ice clouds that disrupted its sensors. One captain even broadcast Earth's music at the entity at full volume. It did not cause damage, but it seemed to confuse the thing, forcing it to pause and analyze the strange signals. "We are annoying it," Dong said with a grim smile. "Good, let us keep annoying it." But despite their efforts, the entity continued forward. It was slower, more cautious, but still advancing. Earth was getting closer. On the moon, Wu prepared Fortress Luna's main weapons. They were fully charged. Each one could accelerate a projectile to 10% of light speed. The impact force would be devastating. "We get one shot," he told his crew. "The entity has learned to dodge everything else, but it has never seen it before. We wait until it is in optimal range, then we fire everything at once. And if it dodges, then Earth is next, no pressure." The entity reached the orbit of Mars. Behind it, the First Fleet was in tatters. Half the ships were destroyed or disabled, but the survivors kept fighting, harassing the entity, buying time. Bai had one last trick. She had rebuilt one final ancient weapon, larger than the others. It sat on Mars itself, in the ruins where she had found the blueprints. "This weapon is different," she told Ho. "According to the translations, it does not attack the entity directly. It attacks the space around it, forces it to fully manifest in normal reality. And then it can be hurt, really hurt, but only for a few seconds before it adapts. Seconds is all we need. Fire when ready." The ancient weapon activated. Mars itself seemed to shudder with the power output. A wave of distorted space expanded outward, catching the entity in its grip. The entity screamed. The sound was not audible, but every human felt it in their minds, a cry of rage and surprise. For the first time in 100,000 years of hunting, the entity was forced into full physical manifestation. It became solid, real, vulnerable. "Now," Ho shouted, "all forces fire everything." Fortress Luna's fired. Projectiles traveling at 30,000 kilometers per second slammed into the entity. The remaining fleet ships launched their last weapons. Earth's orbital platforms opened fire. Even the ancient weapons, running on the last of their power, struck one more time. The entity burned. Its darkness turned to light as matter and energy tore through it. For the first time in its long existence, it felt pain, real pain. And it retreated. The entity pulled back, its form becoming dispersed again, fleeing toward the outer system. Behind it, humanity's battered forces watched in disbelief. Did we win?" someone asked. "No," Dong said. "We survived, there is a difference." But Min saw something else in the data. "Look at its trajectory. It is not just retreating, it is fleeing. We scared it." The entity disappeared beyond Neptune, back into deep space. The battle was over. On Earth, people emerged from shelters to see their forces limping home. The cost had been terrible, thousands dead, entire fleets destroyed, but Earth still stood. In the council chambers, Speaker watched the battle recordings in silence. The humans had done the impossible. They had hurt the entity, made it retreat. Elder's message arrived an hour later. I told you they were different. They do not surrender. They do not hide. And now the entity knows it. Slowly, other council members began to send messages to Earth. Quiet messages, unofficial, asking for details, wanting to know how humanity had succeeded where they had failed. Ho read the messages and smiled. They want our help now, after leaving us to die. What should we tell them? Haywan asked. Tell them we warned them. Tell them we offered to stand together. Tell them they chose fear. He paused, then added, but tell them the door is still open. If they want to fight next time, we will fight beside them, because that is what humans do. The entity was gone but not destroyed. It would return someday. But next time humanity would be ready, and next time they might not be alone. Because Earth had issued a warning to the galaxy. They had shown that the unstoppable could be stopped, the inevitable could be prevented, the cycle could be broken. All it took was courage. And humanity had plenty of that to spare.